Good morning, Your Majesties. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you that are new here, welcome to my YouTube channel. And happy Wednesday. I have a story time for you guys. This one's called The Cold Case. I don't know if I read this one. Okay, it goes. Detective Evelyn Carter has had seen her share of unsolved cases. But the one that haunted her for years was the disappearance of Audrey Palmer. Audrey had vanished without a trace 5 years ago on a cold autumn night. The small town of Milford had never been the same. Had never been the same. Its streets showed by whispers and suspicious. Evelyn had promised Audrey's mother she would find the truth, but the case had gone cold with no new leads until now. Okay. A call came in one evening as Evelyn sat at her desk, staring at Audrey's old case files. The voice on the other end was garbled, as if the person were speaking through a bad connection. But the message was clear. I know where she is. Meet me at the old mill at midnight. Evelyn's heart raced. The old mill was abandoned, a crumbling relic of the town's industrial past. It was also notorious for its eerie atmosphere, with locals claiming to hear strange noises and see shadowy figures around it at night. But Evelyn wasn't one to believe in ghost stories. She was a detective and she followed the evidence no matter how strange. Yeah, I don't know if I could be a detective. Yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, I can't be a nurse. I can't be a surgeon. No, I don't think I could. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Okay. As midnight approached, Evelyn drove to the mill, her mind buzzing with anticipation and dread. The town was quiet, the streets empty, as if the entire population was holding its breath. When she arrived at the mill, the fog was thick, clinging to the ground like a shroud. The building loomed ahead, its windows dark and broken. The once proud structure, now a skeletal reminder of a forgotten era. Evelyn parked her car and stepped out, the cold biting through her coat. She shone her flashlight toward the entrance and saw a faint light flickering inside, casting long distorted shadows on the walls. As she approached, the heavy wooden doors creaked open, revealing a narrow corridor that led deeper into the mill. The air was musty, filled with the scent of damp wood and rusting metal. Her footsteps echoed off the walls as she ventured further in the light ahead, guiding her like a beacon. As she turned a corner, the light flickered and went out, plugging her into darkness. She paused, straining to hear anything in the silence that pressed around her. A creak of wood behind her made her spin around, her hand instinctively reaching for her gun. But there was nothing, just the empty corridor stretching back into the gloom. She turned back only to find the light ahead had returned, now stronger and more assistant, almost as if it were pulling her forward. Evelyn followed the light until she reached a large open room filled with old menagerie, its hulking shapes barely visible in the dim glow. In the center of the room was an old wooden chair, and sitting on it was a man she didn't recognize. His face was gaunt, eyes hollow, and his clothes were ragged. He held a small, flickering lantern in one hand, The other hand was resting on his lap. "Who are you?" Evelyn demanded, her voice. "Who are you?" Evelyn demanded, her voice firm despite the tension coiling in her chest. The man looked up, his eyes locking onto hers. "You don't remember me, do you, detective?" His voice was hoarse, barely above a whisper, "but you've been looking for me for a long time." Evelyn's mind raced to trying to place his face, but nothing came to her. "I don't know you," she said, taking a conscious step forward, her hand still on her gun. "But if you know where Aubrey is, you need to tell me now." The man smiled, a cold, mirthless expression that sent a shiver down her spine. "Audrey isn't lost, detective. She's right here in this very room." Evelyn's blood ran cold. She scanned the room, her flashlight beam darting over the machinery, the walls, the floor, but there was nothing, no sign of Aubrey or anyone else. "You're lying," she said, her voice hardening. "If this is some kind of sick joke, it's not a joke," the man interrupted, his smile fading. "Audrey is here. She's been here all along, waiting for you to find her." Evelyn's heart pounded as she approached the man, her flashlight beam steady on his face. "Where is she?" she demanded, her voice rising with desperation. The man didn't answer. "Why not? Why didn't the man answer? I thought he knew where she was. Why wouldn't he answer?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he slowly raised his hand and pointed to the far corner of the room, where a large old trunk sat covered in dust and cobwebs. Evelyn's stomach twisted with dread, but she forced herself to walk over to the trunk, her flashlight shaking slightly in her grip. "Don't point. No, don't do that. No. In this situation, do not point. You just tell me. Don't point. No." Okay. She hesitated for a moment, then knelt down and brushed away the dust. The trunk was heavy, its lid slightly ajar. Evelyn took a deep breath, sealing herself, and then lifted the lid. Inside, she saw remains of a body, long decomposed, its clothes tattered and discolored. A small silver locket lay among the bones, its chain broken. Evelyn's breath caught her in her throat. As she recognized the locket, it was the one Aubrey had worn the night she disappeared. Aubrey. Evelyn stumbled back, her mind reeling. The man's voice echoed in the room, soft and eerie. "I told you, Detective, Aubrey is here." I've been saying Audrey for a long time, huh? Okay. Aubrey is here. She turned back to the man, but the chair was empty. He had vanished, leaving only the flickering lantern on the floor. Oh, the room seemed to close in on her, the shadows glowing darker, more oppressive. She felt a chill run down her spine as a voice, low and guttural, whispered in her ear. "You should have left it alone, detective. Now you'll join her." Evelyn spun around, her flashlight cutting through the darkness, but there was no one there. Panic surged through her as she realized the truth. The man hadn't been real. He was a ghost, a manifestation of the evil that had taken Aubrey and now sought to claim her as well. The walls seemed to close in, the shadows growing thicker, more solid, the air frigid and and Evelyn felt an icy hand brush against her cheek. She bolted for the door, her heart racing, but the exit seemed impossibly far away. The shadows followed her, whispering her name, mocking her, taunting her with Aubrey's fate. Evelyn burst out of the mill and on and into the cold night air, her breath coming in ragged gasp. She didn't stop running until she reached her car, throwing herself inside and locking the doors. She gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white as she tried to calm her racing heart. She forced herself back at the mill, half expecting to see the man standing in the doorway, grinning that cold, empty smile, but the building was dark and silent. The only movement coming from the swaying trees in the wind. Evelyn drove back to the station, dazed, her mind replaying the night's events over and over. When she arrived, she found the persistent empty, the lights dimmed for the night. She made her way to her desk and collapsed into the chair, staring blankly at Aubrey's case file. Her phone buzzed, snapping her out of her thoughts. She glanced at the screen and saw a text from an unknown number. The message was brief. Did you find what you were looking for? Oh, that's creepy. Evelyn's blood ran cold, her hands trembling as she typed out a reply. Who is this? A moment later, the reply came. Aubrey. Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. Her hand hovered over the phone, unsure of what to do. She wanted to believe it was a cruel joke, a prank by someone who knew about the case, but deep down she knew the truth. She looked up and froze, reflected in the dark window behind her. She saw Aubrey standing in the shadows, her face pale and hollow, her eyes fixed on Evelyn with an intensity that made her blood run cold. Evelyn spun around, but there was no one there. The room was empty, silent, except for the sound of her own breathing. The phone buzzed again, and slowly she turned back to it, dread curling in her stomach. The message was from the same number, and this time it was just one word: soon. Evelyn dropped the phone, her heart pounding in her chest. She felt a presence behind her, and malevolent, and the whispers started again, soft and insistent. Aubrey was still out there, trapped between the worlds, and now she had found Evelyn. The case wasn't cold anymore, it was just beginning. Holy moly, that is so scary. Let me know if you guys have heard that story. That's going to be it for today's video. That story is so scary, but I like it. But if you guys have heard that story, let me know down below. That's going to be it for today's video. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Princess Peyton. Hit the red button to become your majesty and hit the bell notification so you're notified every time I upload a video. And I love you guys so much. You guys are the best human beings ever made. And you're the king of my heart in the song lyrics of Taylor Swift. And I will see you guys in Friday's video. Okay, love you. Bye. Mwah.